Hi everyone. I wanted to really quickly show you a good way to do some initial company analysis on the financial statements and how to get in and see their actual financials. I think that's one of the main goals of this class, is so that you're comfortable when looking at financial statements and you know where to go to get the information. So one of my favorite sites is Morningstar. I think it's quite well laid out. It's easy to find the information you're looking at. So to begin, you would just pick a couple of companies, and you don't even have to know their stock symbol. You can just start typing them in, like Home Depot. If you start typing that in, then you pull up the one that you're looking for. I'm going to use a company called Lender Processing Services that's headquartered in Jacksonville here for demonstration, because most students don't pick it to do an analysis on, so it makes a good example. So we'll go ahead and plug that in, and then hopefully Morningstar will speed it up a little bit. Alright, so it's giving us quite a bit of information right in the main page here. Right here is their stock symbol, and you can see their quote price, what their price is trading for right now, and some other information, 52-week range and things. You can look through that. The stock price, what's happened, that was a 5-day. You can do a year to date and see it's been growing. The last dividends, I think that's something I asked you about, when it was and how much it was. What else looks important here? We'll scroll down. Key stats. This is something we're definitely going to focus on. And you can always click on this little button and get more information in that particular section. You can see who their competitors might be. Financial information, just a quick summary, the income statement, balance sheets, and cash flow, and you can click on more here as well. And then filings down here at the bottom, you can click on financials, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to actually scroll back up to the top and show you this little bar. So you can go to key ratios from here, or financials. In the financials, if you go to that button, it's just an abbreviated button of the company's actual filings with the SEC. So you've got your income statement right here. You can change it and go to your balance sheet, and you can also do the cash flow. Now what I want everyone to do is to get into the actual report that's filed with the government. It's called a 10K report. So you want the latest annual report in the company's 10K. Now let me mention, so you can click on that and go ahead and download it. You can also go direct to the company's website, and usually they'll have a little tab that says something like Investor Relations. Most of the time you find it at the bottom of the page, not at the top, and or it may be buried under their About Us category. But if you go into that Investor Relations button, usually you'll be able to locate the latest annual report, and that's essentially what we're looking at. The 10K is just the details about the financial statements. The annual report will contain a lot of information from the company, management's discussion and analysis section. Here's the financial information, which will tell you the company or the CEO's take on the business and things that are happening for them. So that's also quite interesting to read. So you can see the SEC filings here in the annual report. You could use either SEC, again, is going to be that 10K, or the annual report would be just the report that they do every year. So you could use either one of those. So I went ahead and have one sitting here, so you don't have to wait for it to load. So this is what a 10K looks like. It's quite daunting. It's just black and white verbiage. So we need to scroll down to item 8. Item 8 is where you're going to find, and you'll see here, the financial statements and supplementary data. And they give us a page number. Looks like it's around page 37-ish. So go ahead and scroll down. You can review the other information when you get some extra time. But let's go back up here. Okay, so here's item 8, financial statements and supplementary data. And it begins with the auditor's report. So I think your book does cover that, and you can see who the auditors were and their actual opinion that they gave of these financial statements. So they will give a qualified or unqualified opinion. It says, in our opinion, Lender Processing Services and subsidiaries maintained in all material respects effective internal control over financial reporting based on criteria established. There'll also be a report Again, in our opinion, the consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of Lender Processing Services. That's an unqualified opinion by KPMG, the auditors for them. All right, we'll keep going. Oh, here we go. The balance sheet comes up first. Remember, we've got our assets, liabilities. So here's where you're going to pull that information that you're asked to retrieve. Just a couple of notes here. You can see trade receivables. This is their accounts receivable, and it's shown net. So that would mean already deducting the allowance for doubtful accounts. So we'll have to dig in a little further down to find the information about the allowance for doubtful accounts. Current liabilities are shown there. Current liabilities, you get your long-term liabilities. And here's the stockholders' equity section. Here's where you're going to find information about the stock that's outstanding, the par value of that stock, how many shares are actually issued, what's authorized. Remember, common stock is the number of shares issued times the par value, and the difference between what they received for that stock and that common stock par value will be your additional paid-in capital. Here's your retained earnings section. There's treasury stock that the company owns. Remember, they bought back some of their own stocks. You can see the value of that there. Next, you would see the statement of earnings, which is the income statement. So you've got the revenues, gross profits, interest. They have some interest income, their income taxes, and then finally you'll get down to that bottom line, net earnings, and we'll break it down, earnings per share. Okay. Consolidated statements of stockholders' equity. Here's where you're going to find that dividend number that I've asked you to retrieve. So this one is set up, it goes 2008, 2009, 2010. So you need to make sure you're in the right category, find the cash dividends declared, and there it is. It's given to you. Again, a lot of this information you can find on Morningstar as well, but some of it you can't. Here's the consolidated statement of cash flows. Remember, cash flows has operating, investing, and financing activities, so you can review that. And then we get into the notes. So this is where it gives us all the detail that supports the financial statements. Things like the allowance for doubtful accounts. Let's see if I can find it for you here. So you'll have to scroll through here to get a lot of this information. All right, trade receivables. The carrying amounts are reported at fair value. And if we scroll down, we'll find the allowance for doubtful accounts. So that'll tell you how much the allowance for doubtful accounts were. And here's some more detailed information about that allowance. Also asked you about depreciation methods. So let's see here. Property and equipment is recorded at cost less accumulated depreciation. It's using the straight line method. So that's, again, how you would find a lot of the details to find out companies, which methods they're using to do these financials with. So spend a little time digging through this. You might even want to print out those 5 or 10 pages to have it handy for you to reference back and forth. But it's quite interesting, and I don't want you to be intimidated by them because it looks rather intimidating. But once you break it down, it's not too bad. Thank you.